hands are shaking right now. That almost hit us.
An apartment explosion in Aurora forced hundreds from their homes.
Now the property managers are telling them wait months for repairs.
As soon as I read that, I just teared up. I couldn't continue to read.
Or find a new place to live.
I gotta just bite the bullet in hotel room, a family of 5. I got 2 of my children in there and the 3 adults. That's not suitable for us.
Plus, a Denver city audit finds millions of dollars left on the table, meant for improving police response to mental health calls.
And Jeffco schools ready to say goodbye to several elementary schools.
It was a shock to me because we are working towards closing achievement gaps.
Not before parents get their chance to voice their opposition.
We all know that structure, continuity, and support from people our children trust is essential to their growth and education.
Good evening, and thank you for watching Denver7 News on Local 3. I'm Jessica Porter.
And I'm Amy Wadas. Hundreds of people in Aurora are now having to find new places to live after an explosion at an apartment complex off Alameda and Sable.
We first brought you this story last Saturday when 3 people were taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries from the explosion. Residents who spoke with Denver7 said they woke to fire alarms and the smell of smoke. They evacuated the building. Firefighters arrived, and that's when part of the building exploded.
I woke up, got out of the door within the first 10 minutes, and realistically within the next 10 minutes, I was standing directly in front of where the explosion went off. And it was like a movie to me, man, that the explosion went off. I seen big old particle of the building just flying out about halfway through the parking lot.
It's just a big old... I was more scared because of the kids. My stepson was literally right in front of it.
I followed up with that same family again today who says they don't know where they are going to live after just learning that they won't be able to move back into the building for months.
And it's just honestly the shrine, the last I have of it, of moments of our life, you know.
Edward Ramirez shared with us a TikTok video he had made just 2 days before an explosion forced his family and over 300 others from Parkside Collective Apartments in Aurora over the weekend. The video showcases a collage of photos of his late wife, a collage that hangs inside his unit, among other things.
I still have my wife's ashes that are in there.
Edward and his sister Lupe live in the same unit with the rest of their family. All 5 plus 2 pets were put up in one room at the Hyatt nearby. On Wednesday, the siblings said they got this email from property manager Holland Residential saying, quote, "We appreciate the patience you have shown as city and county officials continue to evaluate the building. Unfortunately, we have learned that this process will take several months and residents will not be able to live in the building during this time."
As soon as I read that, I just teared up. I couldn't continue to read. It's too much water in my eyes.
The email went on to say residents no longer had to pay rent as of September 10th. They won't be penalized for breaking their lease and are preparing refund deposit checks and prorated September rent. Each unit will also receive $1,000 to help with relocation. While the sister and brother say they are grateful for the help, it doesn't solve the problem of finding a place to live once they have to be out of the Hyatt by next week.
We're panicking, trying to, we go to work, we're stressed out, but I'm like, we have to continue to live our livelihood.
What adds to their stress, not being allowed inside the building to get their things. The email also stating that the building department has not authorized access back into the complex until they get more clarity on the situation.
I got bedroom sets, obviously, thousands of dollars worth of clothes material. We're saying clothes on our back for about a week's time now.
The city of Aurora sent out a statement saying in part, no city department has issued orders that bar residents from entering their homes since Saturday's incident, saying private property owners have the sole discretion in deciding when residents can enter their buildings.
We would really love some answers.
Now, I asked the city of Aurora if they know what caused the explosion. They said they don't. I also reached down to the property manager to see if they can tell us when residents will be able to get back into their units to get their belongings and if they will continue to provide housing for the foreseeable future. And we are waiting to hear back from them, too.
Police have arrested two 16-year-old boys in connection to a shooting outside of the Carla Madison Recreation Center in Denver last week. One of the teens is being held on 2 accounts of attempted murder. The other is facing accessory to the crime. Police say the shooting began as a fight between the 2 teens and a 20-year-old male. One of the suspects fired a gun, hitting the man and an innocent bystander, 14-year-old R.J. Harding. Harding was shot in the face and is still in the hospital recovering. Denver police tell us Harding was not involved in the fight. Tomorrow, Arvada police officer Dylan Vakoff will be laid to rest. We'll bring you coverage all morning long on Denver7 and Local 3. We will carry the main procession live, as well as the funeral service, which is happening at Flatirons Community Church in Lafayette. That's expected to begin at 10 a.m. You can also watch all morning long on Denver7 Plus.
Wasted grant money, late payments, and improper spending. The city of Denver's auditor released a report today questioning the management of grant money by Denver's police department and the Department of Public Safety. Let's give you some better context on the report's findings. First, where the money was supposed to go. It was supposed to fund the co-responder program, which pairs a licensed mental health professional with a police officer to respond to calls for mental health needs. In 2018, voters approved a 0.25% sales and use tax increase to fund more behavioral health services. The funds generated from the tax increase were dispersed by a nonprofit organization called the Caring for Denver Foundation. The audit finds the police department left $383,000 of grant money for the co-responder program unused. With gained interest, that now totals $438,000. Since it is grant money, it is use it or lose it, and that money must now be returned. The audit finds DPD management wrongly assumed the money would roll over year to year.
In addition to the unused grant money, the audit finds some grant money was used for things like travel expenses and utility bills. It also finds the city of Denver accrued thousands in late fee penalties from the nonprofit meant to provide services for the co-responder program. The Denver City Auditor released 25 recommendations for the police department. Among the recommendations, the auditor wants the city to calculate and pay overdue costs, establish a secure invoice transfer system, and create a grant oversight position to monitor compliance. Denver's Department of Public Safety released a statement today. In it, they say they appreciate the auditor's work and then add in part, quote, "The report did not factor in the environmental, societal, or economic factors that directly impacted this program, including a global pandemic, civil unrest, and severe economic challenges that had major impacts on staffing and administrative capacity."
Tonight, Boulder City Council is discussing reopening parts of West Pearl Street to traffic. At the start of the pandemic, the area was closed off to allow restaurants, cafes, and bars to expand outdoor dining. Now that many COVID protocols have been lifted, some businesses in the area say they'd like to see the area reopened as soon as next month. Those businesses feel the closure has stifled customers, and others feel differently and say keeping the area closed off traffic encourages more people to bike or walk and positively contributes to the city's climate goals. The Downtown Boulder Partnership tells Denver7 it supports reopening the street, but is hoping City Council will advise staffers to study other available options.
The restaurants and retail are very interested in the car traffic and the parking returning. I think there is interest in exploring some other options, especially seasonally, but I think reasonably everybody expects for the winter to be able to have access, vehicular access and parking back.
Denver7 is monitoring tonight's City Council meeting and will share updates if any decisions are made.
Parents of Jeffco schools are speaking out tonight against the district's proposal to close 16 elementary schools. The district announced the recommendation late last month, citing declining enrollment for the need to close and merge schools.
Denver7's Rob Harris was at the board meeting tonight where parents called on district leaders to scrap the plan and then go back to the drawing board.
The topic of school closures wasn't even on the agenda for tonight's Jeffco school board meeting, but that didn't stop parents and even a student from coming out to flood the public comment portion of the meeting with pleas to vote against the district's proposal when the time comes. The main criteria by which the 16 elementary schools were chosen for closure is their size. All have fewer than 220 students or are at least less than 45% of capacity and near another school with the room for the students. But according to the parents that came out to speak, the small size of their kids' schools are the source of their strength, giving students in need more one-on-one attention.
My son was part of the Autism Spectrum Disorder Center program at Wilmore Davis from kindergarten through 5th grade. I implore you to vote no on all 16 closures and come back to the drawing table with us. Individuals with disabilities are the last frontier of the battle of inequity in our communities, and their needs and voices need to be a priority.
The district says the recommended closures would affect around 2,500 students and 422 full-time staff. Now, I reached out to Jeffco schools for comment ahead of tonight's meeting, and a spokesperson said, "We are in a period of listening and look forward to hearing their comments." And that's what the parents who came to this meeting tonight are really demanding, that this school board and the district go back to the drawing board and create new plans with parents as part of the process. In Golden, I'm Rob Harris, Denver7.
Rob, thank you. A longtime New York judge has been appointed to review classified and top secret documents seized from Donald Trump's South Florida estate. Raymond Dearie was named special master by a federal judge after both the Justice Department and the former president's lawyers made clear they would be satisfied with his appointment. Dearie, a Reagan appointee, was proposed by Trump's legal team last Friday. He will be tasked with reviewing documents recovered from Mar-a-Lago for potential attorney-client privileged information.
Coming up, a 1 in 40 shot at winning affordable housing.
All of our apartments, all of our subsidized, has anywhere from a 6-month or longer wait list.
We're going in depth on the Metro's housing logjam now that Denver's annual housing lottery is accepting applications.
It would offer me like a home base where I can actually make plans for my life.
Scattered storms ending on the plains. Coming up, a great looking weekend forecast.
Denver7 News, digging deeper into important topics.
Weeknights starting at 5 on Local 3.
Applications open today for Denver's housing lottery. The lottery is essentially Denver's way of selecting families in need of Section 8 housing.
Denver7's Micah Smith begins our in-depth coverage tonight. She spoke with a man who sees this lottery as one of his only chances to find a home in Denver.
Where are we going to be? Where are we going to stay?
Mothers looking for homes for their kids.
I only get $1,200 a month from Social Security.
And seniors on limited incomes. On any given day in Denver, thousands of people are searching and hoping for an affordable place to live. And on this day,
I don't live anywhere right now. I'm between being on the street, in a field, on a couch.
Carrie Kleiner and many others are entering the Denver Housing Authority's lottery for a chance to win an affordable housing voucher.
For me, it's especially a great opportunity.
Out of thousands of applicants, DHA will pick just 500 voucher winners, and Kleiner hopes he's one of them.
I hope I get a Section 8 voucher. It's stressful, so there's also an emotional wear and tear that just comes from that kind of uncertainty.
But the peer navigators here at St. Francis Center say even if you win the lottery and get your hands on a coveted housing voucher, it could still take a while before you get into a home.
But even if I get a housing voucher today, I might not be able to find an apartment for 3 to 6 months.
St. Francis peer navigator William Bengert says it's still worth a try, and he's helped dozens of clients apply for the lottery.
We make it real simple and easy for them, okay? You know, we make sure that they have an email address so they can get a hold of them. We make sure all the information's correct.
Bengert himself entered the lottery when he fell on hard times. He didn't win, but says some of his clients have.
It can build your pride back. It can help you hold your head higher.
I hope I can be able to invite my family who live elsewhere into my life in a way that they can feel safer around me.
Kleiner says winning the housing lottery for him would mean stability and no longer worrying about where and if he will sleep at night. Reporting in Denver, Micah Smith, Denver7.
Let's take a closer look now on how much it actually costs to afford to live in Denver. We looked over the August housing report released last week by the Denver Metro Association of Realtors. The average single-family home sale closed at $657,000 last month. That's nearly a 7% increase from the year before. If you are looking to rent, the median rent for a one-bedroom on the apartment website Zumper is just over $1,700. For a two-bedroom, it's closer to $2,300 for rent. Far from attainable for the 20,000 people in the Denver Metro who are now entering the housing lottery.
And let's dig deeper. The city of Denver has a 5-year plan to increase the number of affordable housing options in the city. There are 3 main goals for Denver's Department of Housing Stability. First, increasing the ratio of total income restricted homes from 7 to 8%. This would create and preserve 7,000 rental units and houses. The city also hopes to protect at least 950 apartments in income-restricted rental units. Lastly, the city's plan hopes to increase the rate of home ownership of low-income households. This includes raising the rate for communities of color. The city released a draft of its plan last August. The hope is to achieve some of these goals by 2026.
As Micah explained, just 500 vouchers are expected to be given out this year in Denver. Now let's explain who exactly can apply. To qualify, a single person has to make less than $36,700 a year. For a family of 4, it's just over $52,000. The application period for the lottery closes at midnight tomorrow. If you would like to apply, we have a link to the direct application on Denver7.com.
It is not officially fall
beginning
yet,
to look a lot like Christmas.
Like Mike is saying, it's already winter in the high country, and he is singing those Christmas tunes, as you can hear. Comfort Mountain got its first dusting of snow this morning. Loveland also saw some snow today, and this photo shows the snow at the top of the Continental Divide. Looks like almost ski season.
I just want to grab my Christmas sweater, my snow boots. I need to get ready.
Yes, indeed.
Hot cocoa.
It starts early here, doesn't it? Yeah. I mean, our earliest snow on record in Denver is the 3rd of September. But not this year. Don't worry about it. Scattered showers out there now in the eastern plains. Thunderstorms farther to the east out in Kansas, Nebraska. And we had a really pretty sunset here in the Denver area. Look at the color in the sky here. In time lapse, it looked very, very nice. Yes, golden skies. So we might have a shower again tomorrow, but for the most part, drier air is starting to work into the state as we get the tropical stuff out of here that we've had for the last couple of days. So I think we start partly cloudy for your Friday morning. 55 at 7 a.m., 72 by 11 a.m. On our way to around 80, which is where we were today. 52 is our low this morning. 80 and 51 are the averages. And currently, it's a nice night out there. Partly cloudy. 64 at the airport, 69 at our studios. The pressure's on the rise. Humidity 58%, good air quality. So there's still a little bit of the tropical moisture left over from what was Hurricane K about 5 days ago down over Southern California and Baja. It's basically falling apart. The main storm track is to the north of us. So overnight tonight, our skies are going to be clear to partly cloudy, maybe a few isolated showers northwest corner by morning, and very comfortable. Low about 50 for Denver, 48 at Greeley, 49 at Fort Collins, 56 out west at Grand Junction, 54 on the eastern plains at Burlington. In the mountains, 40s and some 30s. 33 at Walden by morning. Fairplay at 38 degrees. Will be 52 degrees downtown. Dry and partly cloudy in the morning. Tomorrow, partly cloudy at midday, and in the afternoon, there'll be just a few showers and thunderstorms. Not as many even as we had today, so only about a 20% chance. Highs will be around 80 degrees again. 50s and 60s expected in the mountains and across the state. 78 out west at Grand Junction and Montrose. 91 at Lamar, the hot spot, and 86 at Ray and Burlington, right around 80 here in the Denver area. Isolated storms possible, but not all that likely. Late tomorrow, warm and dry elsewhere. Saturday's basically warm and dry, maybe an isolated storm or two on the northeast plains. Sunday is warm and dry. Monday will stay mainly warm and dry, although we'll start to see some increase in moisture to the south and a front coming into the west. They'll come together over us to bring us a chance of some rain mid next week. 7-day forecast is 80 tomorrow, slight chance of a shower. Warm and dry Saturday, sunny and warm Sunday. Great day for football. Temperatures are going to be in the 80s during the Bronco game under a partly cloudy sky. Looking ahead, we'll see one more hot one on Monday. Tuesday, partly cloudy, 85, and then Wednesday, Thursday, a little showery, and temperatures back in the 70s.
Thank you, Mike. And Still ahead, the Broncos get a special visit from Lord Stanley. It's a crossover you can't miss next in Denver 7 Sports.
With the weather at this elevation and factoring the density altitude, these cooler temperatures, we are really going to fly.
When it comes to morning weather, she leaves the competition in the dust. Lisa Hidalgo, preparing you for Colorado weather and having fun doing it.
This came while you guys were out.
Oh, thanks.
It's just what neighbors do.
Looks like you opened it.
Again, it's what neighbors do.
The Neighborhood, weeknights at 6 p.m.
Welcome to Denver 7 Sports on Local 3. And we are 3 days away from the Broncos home opener against the Texans. Now, I got to say, the excitement for this game is nowhere near the level it was last week for the Broncos and Seahawks. And a lot of reasons for that. One of them is people are still having a hard time believing how the Broncos lost that game. And it is still being talked about on a national level. This was the front page of ESPN.com today. What was Nathaniel Hackett thinking? ESPN's football expert Bill Barnwell called it one of the worst and most inexplicable decisions he's ever seen. There were 5 or 6 things the Broncos could have done at the end of that game, and Hackett picked the most unlikely scenario of them all to try and win. The headline reads, "Is Denver in trouble?" We shall see soon enough. Second chance is coming on Sunday. Here's Troy Rank at the UC Health Training Center today.
Lost in the aftermath of the kick was the fact the Broncos defense put a boot on Seattle's offense in the second half, held them to 34 yards, 5 first downs, but it was forgotten because of first half penalties and missed assignments. They vow to learn from it.
We knew all the mistakes we made on the defensive side of the ball, and we know that that's not us, that's not our identity, that's not who we want to be, so we just got to go out there and correct it and play a full 4 quarters.
And so I think the guys just did a good job of, in the second half, of just reacting better. They got their feet under them, felt more comfortable. We didn't really do a lot adjustment-wise. I just think, we cleaned up some things, and then the guys did a good job of executing.
It's been a rocky week for the Broncos. Coach Hackett universally criticized for letting Brandon kick instead of letting Russ cook. But there was a great scene at the end of the game as Garrett Bowles walked off the field with Russell Wilson.
That's my dog, man. I love that dude dearly. I think highly of him. I want nothing but the best for him, so I just want to make sure that, we have his back. And that was a very emotional game for him. I just wanted to know that his brothers and, a guy that's really close with him that protects his blind side loves him dearly. I'm never going to let him walk off the field by himself.
Right tackle Billy Turner will not start this week, might play in a reserve role. KJ Hamler unlikely to play. Josie Jewell still hopeful he will return from a calf injury. Reporting from UC Health Training Center, Troy Ray, Denver 7.
Well, the Stanley Cup stopped by the UC Health Training Center today as the Avs started rookie camp. The Cup was set up in the hallway leading to the practice field, so there was no way they were going to miss that beautiful shiny beast. Russ, in full practice gear, gave Lord Stanley a big hug on the way out. Rub off on him, Stanley. Give him the Avalanche treatment, please. The Cup is making its last appearances before the Avs get back to work next week with the start of training camp. All right, coming up on Denver 7 Sports later tonight at 10, we'll talk about this. The home opener Sunday against the Texans. It'll be madness at Empower Field at Mile High. Russell Wilson's first home game as a Bronco. And we're going to hear from Russ as he looks forward to this game on Sunday. That's back on Denver 7 Sports tonight at 10. So that's all for now. We'll see you for that show. Denver 7, 10 o'clock. We'll see you then.
Thank you, Lionel. And when we come back, a vicious dog attack leaves a woman and her grandson in the hospital. We take a closer look at other cases just like this and the precautions people are taking to stay protected.
And questions left unanswered. The confusing details being given to a mom in Thornton about her teenage son's death.
I hope my fans, they discover their superpower, and I hope they feel on top of the world by the time they leave the Jennifer Hudson show.
Jennifer Hudson, weekdays at 2 p.m.
It's 4.
Welcome back to Denver 7 News on Local 3. I'm Amy Wadas.
And I'm Jessica Porter. Tonight, an 89-year-old grandmother is in critical condition after being attacked by 2 pit bulls in Golden.
Her 12-year-old grandson was also attacked and is in stable condition. The dogs belonged to the family and attacked the 2 at their home. Police say the boy had run to a neighbor's house to call police, and officers arrived while his grandmother was still being attacked.
Our officers acted heroically, quickly, and decisively, putting themselves between the animals and the victim. Officers used themselves as human shields. It was a tragedy. A very emotional scene is what I can say.
Both dogs were known to the victims. One of the dogs involved in the attack was euthanized. The other is currently at a shelter.
Unfortunately, vicious dog attacks like this aren't as uncommon as you might think. Denver7's Russell Haythorne is going deeper tonight and spoke with another Colorado victim who was attacked by a dog last month.
It's a lovely neighborhood.
Stacy Cohen usually can't say enough good things about where she lives.
I was inside and I was about to go out and get the mail.
But what happened here last month,
I didn't see anything out here,
shattered her sense of safety.
The yellow dogs came up on my deck and they were threatening me, growling and barking and being real aggressive. Go home.
She captured this video of those two yellow dogs on her front deck and another aggressive black dog running around to the other side of the deck.
I was telling the dogs to go home, and pointing at home, and I thought they were leaving.
Rather than leave, they attacked.
The three of them were all crowded around me and they were viciously biting my legs. The attack was so vicious, I did not think I was going to survive at one point.
She finally managed to kick her way into the front door and call 911.
My legs were just covered in blood. I was bit in multiple places. I was absolutely terrified.
Cohen filed this report with Adams County Animal Management, but now, a full month after the attack and investigation, Cohen still doesn't know where her neighbor's dogs ended up.
They won't even tell me if they've given the dogs back.
We reached out for comment about the status of the dogs. Adams County has not yet responded. However, an ordinance on their website says it shall be unlawful for any person to own, possess, or harbor a dog that has caused bodily injury to a person. According to court records, the owner of the dogs is due in court October 12th on charges of ownership of a dangerous dog, bodily injury. Cohen plans to be in court that day.
You can either speak out or you can stay shut up and be afraid. It's not going to be any worse if you speak out than if you stay shut up and be afraid. I'm hoping this will be enough.
For now,
they'll get out again.
She's changing her habits a bit.
Whenever I walk out of my house, I carry this bat.
Russell Haythorne, Denver7.
Now, a mother is desperate for answers after her teenage son died in a crash in Thornton a couple weeks ago. Maria Sanchez says police are giving her mixed messages about what caused the crash that killed her 19-year-old son, Jesus. She was told there was a second car involved in the crash that they believed to be at fault. A neighbor of Sanchez had Ring a video that captured what looked like a black vehicle speeding by with what sounds like blown out tires. Then the story changed.
When the detective finally got a hold of me, there was no mention of another vehicle being involved. They're trying to say that my son was speeding and lost control. I just need all the help I can get right now because I feel like it's just a black hole of answered questions, you know? And I feel like my baby needs my voice right now. I have to be his voice.
As of right now, Thornton police told Denver7 they have no leads to follow up on regarding the second vehicle. Officials are asking anyone with information to contact them.
A railway strike is avoided after the Biden administration reached a tentative deal between rail companies and their workers. Economists say the deal averted a strike that could have cost the nation's economy $2 billion a day. The deal includes a pay raise and relaxes attendance policies. The White House says the deal will also help freight rail companies retain and recruit workers. Colorado is once again at the center of a Supreme Court decision regarding religious freedom.
This one pits a Denver wedding website designer against Colorado's anti-discrimination laws.
I am a Christian, and as a Christian, I believe that marriage is between one man and one woman. And while I'm happy to serve everyone, there are certain messages I'm unable to promote through my business.
Lori Smith runs 303 Creative. She says because of her beliefs, she will not serve same-sex couples. This fall, the U.S. Supreme Court will decide if businesses can use religious objections to refuse service to LGBTQ people.
Would you deny a wedding website request from a Muslim couple that wanted to put Quran verses on the homepage?
I'm never refusing a project based on who's requesting it, requesting the work, but the message that I'm being asked to pour my time, talents into promoting and celebrating.
Smith first sued the state under the First Amendment in 2019. Several smaller federal courts sided with the state of Colorado.
And let's give you a different take on this case. Colorado Attorney General Phil Weiser says if a business is open to the public, it has to serve everyone. He is worried at what kind of precedent this case could set.
This core principle of American law, that everyone has access to the marketplace, could be undermined when you create a loophole that people get to say, I'm not going to serve you because I don't want to serve, and then fill in the blank.
Now, if this case sounds familiar, then you may be remembering the case of Jack Phillips and Masterpiece Cake Shop. He won a 2018 Supreme Court case after refusing to make a cake for a same-sex couple. He also cited his Christian beliefs for the refusal. What the Supreme Court did not answer in 2018 is whether Colorado's anti-discrimination law violates the free speech rights of business owners. We could find out that answer this fall.
Well, midterm elections are less than 2 months away, and every vote counts for the state's new congressional district.
We have different issues that we care about. We have different experiences. We come from different backgrounds.
After the break, we take a look at the efforts being made to reach out to Latino voters before they fill out their ballot.
Come back.
We are less than 2 months out from the midterm elections. Historically, voter turnout is a bit lower, but Latino groups are hoping to encourage their communities to cast a ballot.
Denver7 political reporter Megan Lopez shows us the new polls, giving us a better idea of how Latinos might vote.
Door by door, knock by knock.
We have a team out there walking all through Adams County.
The race to November is on in Congressional District 8. Not only is it Colorado's newest district, it also has the highest number of Hispanic residents at nearly 40%, which is why
we're having those conversations to persuade people to vote for somebody who's a policy champion.
Groups supporting Republican congressional candidate Barbara Kirkmeyer are knocking on doors, while across town, those supporting Democratic candidate Yadira Caraveo are making calls and engaging with the community.
Yadira is someone who has lived their experience.
The Latino population in Colorado is growing. 2020 census data shows they make up 22% of the state's population. Now, a new set of polls from 3 organizations is giving us a better idea of the issues Hispanic communities care about the most. And in all 3,
we're seeing the inflation, the economy, that being top of their priorities.
Jobs, housing, people like not being able to afford affordable housing in the area.
These families are having the same issues that any voter has, but they're affecting them in different ways.
Crime and immigration reform were also priorities, and in 2 of the polls, abortion rights were a major issue.
Most polls show that a lot of Latinos support some sort of safe legal access to abortion.
And yet, despite their growing population and potential political power,
Latinos, tend to be overlooked by both political parties.
As over the past few cycles, you hear about the Hispanic vote when it's election time.
Hispanics are also often looped into a single monolith, treated like one voice and one voting bloc.
We have different issues that we care about. We have different experiences. We come from different backgrounds.
For candidates, this growing demographic could mean opportunity.
The new district could become a bellwether of what Latino issues are important in Colorado and in the country.
But it depends on how much time they spend in these communities focusing on their unique issues.
We're doing everything that we can to, as Mi Familia Vota, to make sure that Latinos are participating in elections, that our voices are heard, and that we don't get overlooked in elections.
With the midterm election on the horizon, Latinos could play a big role in determining the outcome, if they turn out.
If Latinos show up in huge numbers to this upcoming midterm election, expect members of Congress and senators to really listen to this community.
Megan Lopez, Denver7.
Megan, thank you. Still ahead, food, music, and dance is a great way to bring people together. After the break, we check out a weekly event that highlights the Latino culture within Denver.
I'm Esmeralda Rodriguez. My roots are from Chihuahua, Mexico, and what Hispanic Heritage Month means to me is an opportunity to celebrate our culture, success, our people, our food, and take pride in what we have to offer to our community.
As you just saw, today kicks off Hispanic Heritage Month, and all month long we are celebrating right here on Denver7.
It's a month meant to celebrate the histories, cultures, and contributions of Americans and their ancestors who came from Hispanic countries.
Going deeper tonight, Hispanic Heritage Month actually started as a week under former President Lyndon B. Johnson in 1968. It was eventually expanded to a month under former President Ronald Reagan in 1988.
We did some research and found out that today, September 15th, is also significant because it's a day multiple Hispanic countries celebrate their independence. Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua all signed their declarations of independence from Spain on this date. Mexico celebrates its Independence Day tomorrow, not on Cinco de Mayo, and on Sunday, Chile recognizes its Independence Day.
The data shows more Americans are identifying as Hispanic. 2020 census numbers show 1 in 5 Americans, or 63 million, identify as Hispanic. That's an increase of about 11 million people since 2010. Here in Colorado, more than 1.2 million people identify as Hispanic. That accounts for nearly 22% of the state's total population. For tonight's Hispanic Heritage Month story, we take you to Westwood de Noche in Denver off Morrison Road.
As Denver7 photojournalist Jacob Curtis shows us, the event at the Rise Westwood campus is just one of the ways the Hispanic and Latino community comes together and strengthens their bonds.
I think it's important for community. I really love how Cultura Chocolate has brought community together in so many ways as vendors and promoting small businesses, and not just that, but uniting our community and bringing back our culture.
Cultura is a chocolate shop. It's we make bean to bar chocolate, but for me that's always kind of been like a vessel to really explore my culture and to connect with community. So for me, the focal point of the work that we do is really being part of this community, really working with local community in everything that we do, and really honoring and exploring the culture. My mom is from Mexico, and it's always been through food that I've connected to that side of my family, and I think it's been through like events like these and getting community together and having people who have similar lived experiences, but also who have similar histories, and that really help bring us all together.
After everything that has happened with the COVID and all that stuff, I think we need this more than ever to be united and to get together and to experience each other. So I think it's very important that they're doing this.
It's really about showcasing the small businesses that really are part of this campus. Most of the women here tonight making the food are promotoras or somehow connected to this campus, work here on this campus, and it's really about supporting small businesses like that.
Well, tomorrow night's event will be a festival called Festival de la Milpa, which will honor pre-Hispanic cooking and traditions. There will also be music and local vendors. You can find out more information by visiting the website on your screen. The event will be happening right outside Cultura Chocolate off Morrison Road and West Alameda.
Now we have some comfortable temperatures for those festivities, don't we?
Yeah, Mike, we have some dry and pretty sunny days ahead.
Oh, best time of the year coming up. Now, there are some scattered showers out there now, most of them exiting out into Kansas, where they'll continue for much of the night. A little bit on the eastern plains, a few linger in the mountains, but our weather headlines: scattered showers ending, a dry Friday morning, a few showers Friday afternoon, but warmer and drier weather for the weekend. Today, the top temp reached 80 degrees. 52 is our low. That's very close to where we should be this time of year. The averages are 80 and 51. Records 94, the record low 32. No rain today. Right now, under a partly cloudy sky, 68 degrees downtown, 64 at the airport. Pressure's rising. Humidity 58%. South winds at 9. Good air quality. Partly cloudy tomorrow morning, 55 at 7 a.m., 72 by 11 a.m. A little bit of tropical moisture left, the remnants of that hurricane that was over Baja about a week ago. gradually weakening. Line of thunderstorms off into Kansas, warm and dry to the south and east, slightly cooler to the north, but those fronts will stay up there. And the smoke and haze is mostly going to be to the north of Colorado over the next couple of days. So by morning, isolated showers northwest corner of the state, partly cloudy to clear elsewhere, and a really nice start to your Friday. 40s and 50s for lower elevations, 30s and 40s expected in the mountains. Along the Front Range, 41 at Winter Park, 42 at Keystone, Estes Park at 43, Red Feather at 40. We'll see low 50s along the I-25 corridor. Dry morning, sunny to partly cloudy skies. By midday, we'll have some scattered clouds, a few showers in the mountains along and west of the Continental Divide. In the afternoon, isolated showers and storms, not very many, fewer than we've had in recent days, and the highs similar to today. Upper 70s to low 80s at lower elevations, 50s and 60s in the mountains, 70s out west, Grand Junction, Montrose, Cortez, and Durango, 80s northeast plains, a couple of 90s to the south and east. So aside from some isolated storms, warm and dry tomorrow. Pretty much the same story Saturday. A few storms northeast Colorado. Sunday, warm and dry. Monday, warm and dry, although there's a little hint of some moisture coming back up from New Mexico and a front out to the west that will come together over Colorado by Wednesday and Thursday and bring us a chance of rain. So on the 7-day, tomorrow, a couple of showers around, but I wouldn't worry about it at all. 80, warm and dry Saturday, 85. 88 on Sunday, beautiful for the Bronco game. We'll have sunshine, warm, temperatures in the 80s during the game. Monday, 92, perhaps the last really hot one of the year. Tuesday, 85, and then that next system comes in Wednesday, Thursday with some showers and cooler weather back into the 70s.
Thank you, Mike. Coming up, for one Colorado man, newspapers are not just a hobby, it's in his blood.
My great-grandfather's 5 sons, 4 were printers. And my great-grandfather's brother and grandfather's father-in-law. So, yeah, it's pretty ingrained.
We get an inside look at the last old-time newspapers that are being printed.
Okay, we got some new blood this morning.
At a time when newspapers are folding and there are fewer small-town reporters, one Saguache County man is bucking the trend.
And he's the only person publishing one of the last old-time newspapers in the country. Dan Grossman visited him to see what's driving him to continue this work.
Yeah, once in a lifetime. Do not be mistaken.
Are you a YouTuber? Since you guys are here, you're like manure, you're drawing the flies. No.
This is not a story about passion.
One line at a time.
No. This is a story about a man, his machine,
it's copy,
and a dedication to what is at the core of both.
My grandmother, I think, she bled ink.
Legacy.
My great-grandfather's 5 sons, 4 were printers. And my great-grandfather's brother and grandfather's father-in-law. So, yeah, it's pretty ingrained.
In 1917, Dean's family purchased the Saguache Crescent, a newspaper that has been around since the 1870s as it serves the sprawling yet intimate rural county of Saguache, Colorado.
How it tightens. It's just pounding this wedge up.
And it's all been published on what is believed to be the last operating linotype machine in the country.
They're mechanical. They're 100 years old, mechanical. And it's 28,000 parts. There's a kind of an idea that this is a romantic thing. Yeah, well.
Dean started working here when he was 12.
Back here, as we go back into the bowels of the... This is all handset type. And this is the way it was done.
And if the 58 years since can be defined by anything, it would be that word dedication. Dean hasn't slept outside of Saguache in more than 30 years. His last day off was in 1990, and the day his dad died, Dean's family was here, working.
And he walked out the door and died. We put out a newspaper. And people said, I think there's something wrong with them. We just continued on. That was the day we had to put the paper out.
There have been mechanical problems, there have been frustrations.
Oh, come on!
But Dean has overcome every one of them for the sake of his 500 subscribers who rely on the paper each week to get their news.
You know, I just have a commitment to doing the job at hand. I wouldn't say that I'm a Spartan or anything, but, you know, I keep at it, just like you have to do in just about anything.
We tend to think of rural America as hardworking, salt of the earth, nose to the grindstone.
I mean, you're never going to see this again.
Look at someone like Dean Coombs and try to say otherwise.
It's what I do, and that's just about all I can tell you. I get up in the morning and I go to work, and this is what I do.
In Saguache County, Colorado, I'm Dan Grossman.
It's a lost art, Mike.
Yeah, it is. So's making a 7-day. No, we still know what we're doing here. 80 tomorrow, and don't worry about the shower. Kind of throw it in there because there'll be a few around. But the weekend is just one of the most outstanding weekends of the whole year. Mid to upper 80s and sunshine. One more 90 in case you're lamenting the loss of the 90s. We'll get that on Monday.
Not too sad, but we don't want to say goodbye to summer just yet, I think.
No, we don't.
All right, thanks for watching.
Have a great night, everyone.